Okay, this video is going to be all about the amazing brushes that we have here at Seint. I have all of the brushes that we have except for one, and that is the smudge brush. I do not have that one yet, but I'm gonna go over all of the brushes that I have, show you the different coverage that each of the brushes do provide, and I'm gonna show you that on my skin as well as on paper. Now remember that when I am swiping this on paper, it's not going to be the same as swiping it on your face or applying on your face, but I wanted you to see the different coverage that you would get with that. So with this, I like to use colors that I don't typically use because I want you to be able to see the difference in the coverage that you're going to get with all of these brushes. So I'm going to be using Sandy, which is a shade that is not my typical. See, it doesn't match. It's a little bit warmer for me. I'm going to be using Sandy, and I'm also going to be using, that's going to be for my main shade, and I'm going to be using Versailles, which is much lighter than what I typically use for my brightening highlight, but I really want you to be able to see the difference in these brushes. So let's go ahead and get started. So the lightest coverage brush, we're going to go from light to full coverage. The lightest coverage brush that we have is the blend brush. Now we call this our cardio brush because this is the brush that you're going to have to really get a cardio workout in to apply. You're going to be swirling around and around and around to get your application, get your product on, as well as for blending. So let's grab Sandy and let's just get started. This is the only brush that I will say I would tell you to swipe back and forth to get some product, okay? It's gonna take a lot of swiping to pick up a little bit of product on this one. So all of our brushes, I will tell you, are double-ended. You'll probably hear me say that a few times throughout this video. All of our brushes are double-ended, so you're gonna have uses on both ends, and I will explain what I use those for as we go through. But this is the blend brush. You're gonna swipe back and forth quite a bit to pick up some product on there. You can see the product that I've gotten, and I'm gonna swipe it just on this paper. See how light, and again, it's going to grab differently on paper than it is on your skin, but you can see the light coverage that you're getting here with the blend brush. So let me do a little bit more swiping, and I'm gonna just kind of apply it over here and show you the coverage that you're gonna get. So see how light this is? It's just a very natural, I could probably go all over with this one. It's just a very, very light, natural coverage that you're going to get with this. Again, this is the blend brush. We call it our cardio brush because we are really working to get that product. I think everybody should own this brush, but it is not a brush that I would recommend starting out with because it does take a little bit to get used to this brush. I just recently started using it myself, and it does take a little bit to get used to. The other end I do like to use to blend out my nose contour because when I do my nose contour, when I do all my contour, I want it to basically stay where I placed it. And so I do like to grab some contour here. We're gonna use shadow. So again, not a color I would typically use, but we're just gonna swipe back and forth. And if I wanted to put a little nose contour right here, I could. I would also use this, or I do use this, to blend out my nose contour so the colors are staying right where I put them. So that is our blend brush. The next brush that we have is the blush and bronzer brush. Now this brush is an amazing brush that you can use for, of course, your blush and for your bronzer, but you can also use it for your main shade. Again, double-ended. So this end here is going to be, the big end is going to be used for your bronzer. Our bronzers are formulated a little bit differently than the cream foundations. So this brush, you would lightly, grab my bronzer here, you would lightly just swirl that in your bronzer and then just apply it. But I'm gonna mainly focus on this end because this is what I use a lot of times when I'm in a hurry. The smaller end of this brush is what I would use to get a nice medium coverage, and it covers a lot of area really quick. So I wanted to make sure I had Sandy again. So this one, you're going to just tap it in here to pick up some product. This is going to give you that nice medium coverage, so you can see the difference in the two, right? So it's going to give you a nice medium coverage, but look how big this end is. You are able to really just tap it in here and stamp. See the coverage that you're getting? It's covering a really big area of your skin at one time, and you can just tap it in there, stamp, and then it makes for a really good, when you're blending, look at the difference with this medium versus the light. So you can see some texture here because I applied too much product. If you ever see a lot of texture in your creams, it's because the product has been applied too heavy, and that is typical. I think especially in the beginning, as you're getting used to your new cream foundations, a lot of us tend to apply a little bit heavier. So that's the texture that you're seeing there, is because I've applied it really heavy. So this is the difference though between the medium coverage and that light coverage. This is also, of course, it's called a blush and bronzer brush. This is obviously great for applying your brush, and we'll come back a little bit later and do that and apply our blush here using Hollywood, Madrid. So when you stamp this, you can stamp it right in here, and you're going to just stamp your blush, your lip and cheek color right here. And I use this a lot to blend my blush in, and we'll go through all of that here at the end. I just kind of want to show you the difference in the coverage. All right, so our next one is the one that, if you've gotten a color match from me, this is the brush that I always recommend to start with. It is our 3D brush, has again that double end. This is the standard brush, the original brush that we have with the creams, and this is going to give you a nice airbrushed medium look. You can actually get more of a full coverage look or a light look depending on how much product you use also. But also with this one, you're going to take this big end. Mine's kind of flat because I squish mine a lot. If you've ever seen me apply my makeup, I use this a lot for my contour also, because when you first get your brush, if you get this one to start with, you can use this brush for everything, and we'll show you a little bit here in just a second. But using this big end, you're just going to again tap in there, get some product on your brush, and you can see it's giving just a little bit because I applied a little bit more product. You're getting a little bit heavier of an application. So you can see the difference really clearly here, how you can get a different coverage with these different brushes. So I'm going to tap in here. We're going to do over here again. This is just that main shade, Sandy, that we're using today. It's typically not my color. You can see again how it doesn't match my skin tone as well, but I wanted to pick one that was a little bit darker so you could really see the difference. But we're just stamping that on. You can see the difference in the size of the two. So this is the blush and bronzer, and this is the 3D brush. If you're using this to apply your contour, you most certainly can. Just squish your brush together, dip into your contour, and apply your contour where you need it. Okay? So that is the big end. The smaller end I like to use for my brightening highlight. So this is Versailles, this cone shape end. You can just tap into here and apply your brightening color with this end. Okay, so that again is the 3D brush. The next brush we have is our detail brush. Now the detail brush is made specifically for your contour. It has a nice end here that you can literally just stamp your contour on. It has another, the other end is what I like to use again to blend out my nose contour, to blend my lip contour. You can also use it to apply your brightening highlight. Some people even use this to stamp that main shade, so you can see how much you're getting with that. I'm gonna just swipe it really quick into the main shade. So I'm just again tapping that, grabbing some product, and you can see the medium coverage that you're getting there. It's almost like a medium to a full coverage with that. And you could, I'm just gonna stamp that main shade right here where I would typically apply the main shade. And then I'm gonna dip right back into it and grab some contour here. And I'm just going to stamp where I would put my contour. okay? So that is the detail brush. Again, you can use this end if you would like to apply your brightening highlight right here and a little right here. And this is the detail brush. Okay, our next brush is our full coverage brush. Now this baby is going to give you all the full coverage that you need. This is the buff brush. So again, double-ended. This smaller end is perfect if you wanted to stamp your cheek color right here, your blush color. It is perfect for that. It's a perfect size. I like to use this big end. This one is made, see how it's just gripping that foundation right there, that main shade, that highlight. I'm gonna swipe some product on there, make sure I grab Sandy, and I did, and look at the full coverage you're gonna get with that baby. So we've got light all the way to full coverage. So we have a brush for everybody, okay, and for everything. So I'm gonna do this right up here. I'm gonna grab some product and I'm going to just swipe. Now, if you noticed with the other brushes, and I didn't really mention this, if you noticed, I was stamping, right? I'm just stamping that on. With this brush, the buff brush, you're gonna wanna swipe. Look how much product I have. This is the same color as this, same color as this. It's just a matter of how much product is on the brush. So I'm gonna actually pull this back for just a second because I'm going to go ahead and do a little contouring real quick with this other detail brush on my forehead so we can just complete this look. So I'm going to grab my contour color, just stamp a little bit of contour up here using that detail brush that we talked about a while ago. There we go. There we go. We'll just leave it like that for now. Okay, and then the smaller end, like I said, you can use to stamp. I like to sometimes use it to clean up my eyeshadow if I have any fallout with my eyeshadow there. I'm going to get into Versailles now, and I'm going to show you our next brush, which is our multitasker brush. So this brush is fantastic. Everybody needs this brush. This was the second brush that I bought. The multitasker brush, you can use it for so much. I like to use this end to apply my lip color. I like to use it to apply my contour, or not my contour, I'm sorry, my brightening highlight. I'm gonna dip into Versailles here with it. I use the other end, and I'll show you in just a second, to do some lip lining. So I'm just taking Versailles, I'm running that brightening highlight down the end of my nose. I like to bring a little bit up here with it. I did not put any contour on the end of my nose. Let me do that really quick while I'm explaining this to you. Grab the right brush. There we go. There we go. Okay, so you can also use this other end to do your lips. If you wanted to line your lips with your contour color, you could certainly do that. I actually use the multitasker brush of this other end to do my under eye eyeliner here. Sometimes I use it, if you've seen me do the backwards 7 with my eyeshadow, my multitasker brush is what I use. I've seen some people use their multitasker brush, dip into their main shade to do like the cheetah hack, but instead of using their fingers, they're using the multitasker brush. So that is that brush. And then we have the line brush. So the line brush has the spoolie on the other end. So if you wanted to brush up your brows or use our brow wax, you most certainly could. But this other end creates hair-like strokes. Now this is absolutely, it's hard to do on here so you can see, but it creates hair-like, and it's getting too thick. Hold on. It creates hair-like, there we go. There we go. I had too much product on it. It creates hair-like strokes if you wanted to fill in your brows is what I use this brush for. It just creates hair-like strokes and is absolutely fantastic. That is the line brush. And then we have the double-ended eyeshadow brush. This brush is everything. So it's the big end here is great to apply your all-over color. And then you have the smaller end here that you could also do that backward 7 with. You could also run under your eye here as well and apply like an under eye eyeshadow look. Okay, or eyeliner look. And then we have our powder brush. So our powder brush is fantastic for that setting powder. I don't even know where my setting powder is right now. It really grabs the setting powder, and then you press it on in your T-zone area here, or any place. I'm really oily over here a little as well, so I always put it over there as well. But you can just grab it and press it and set your makeup in for the day. All right, and then we have our Perfector sponge, also known as a beauty blender. A lot of people like to use these to blend everything out. I personally have not done that yet. You can also use it to grab the product and put on here as well. But while we're sitting here, I'm gonna go ahead and just blend this out. I'm going to wipe this brush off to get some of that sandy off. Again, this is not my normal color, but even though we have like a light coverage here, medium coverage here, we're gonna blend this all out so it will look beautiful. So I'm just taking that blush and bronzer brush and stamping these colors and pressing them around where I need them to go. And if you've seen the hat class, which hopefully you have by now, you'll know that it doesn't take a lot of product to get the look that you want. Notice I'm grabbing this here. I'm going to grab some of this product that's up here that was full coverage and bring it down here as well and blend that all out together. But again, if you've seen the hat class, you know that it doesn't take a lot of product. A little bit is really going to go a long way with your cream foundations. And so I chose to use this brush because of the coverage that it provides, and because of how much I can get in one little stamp. Because I did the brightening right here, I'm going to add just a little bit more of sandy here. Typically I would not, but again, we're using those colors, or we use colors that we're going to show up better for video purposes, for you to be able to see, really be able to see the difference. So up here, we're just going to blend this out really, really quick. Just pressing these colors around, making them go where they're supposed to. Up here on my forehead, I am, because we have that really heavy full coverage up here. That buff brush really does provide that full coverage, and it is going to really give you a full coverage look. So we're just blending all of this in really quick, and then we're going to go back here in just a second and apply some blush. Now, like I said earlier, there's so many different brushes that you could use to get your blush color the way you want it. But I actually swipe mine on with my finger, and then I use this to blend down. Okay, I'm gonna just leave it at this. Because the coverage is a little bit different than what I'm used to, I'm gonna go in and blend it a little bit better off camera for you. And I will try to post some pictures also so you can see the completed look, because I kind of want to do the full coverage all over for this one. So I will post that for you, but that is all of the different brushes that we have with Seint. We have an amazing brush cleaner. If you do not have this, you need this. This is fantastic to quickly, while you're in between colors, or I always just dive right into another color. You can actually just squirt a squirt on your brush, take a rag, and I have one right down here, sorry. It's got a lot of stuff on it right now. I am just wiping this like this on my rag, gets that color off, and then you can immediately start using it for your next color. So anyway, that is all of the brushes. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Drop them in the comments here. Send me a private message, whatever works for you. I am happy to help find a brush that you would absolutely love. Bye.